The Turbo and 2K Show.
Just one of those days.
Just one of those days. All right, 2K crew, let's start this over. Like 2K said, it really has been one of those days, and I kind of thought that it was a little low in my ears, and it turns out you get better audio when you actually turn the mixer on. Mm-hmm. So my bad. But you know what? We persevere. We fix it. We persevere. And yeah, 2K crew, love to have you. There's a handful of you folks watching live, so I do appreciate it. And if you guys and gals are in the Facebook group, I really encourage you guys and gals to go over to the YouTube and go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you get notified every time we go live. That actually helps us out more than you viewing on Facebook. But as long as you're watching, I'm cool with it. What about you, 2Ks?
I'm cool with it.
And along with watching it, let's interact with it. We want to hear your thoughts, hear your comments, and when you guys and gals do it, you pop up like this. We can have a conversation live and in real time with you guys and gals. And one of the biggest pros about going over to YouTube is your comments show up quicker on our end, so it's more of a live conversation. So that's huge. But 2Ks, good to have you here, brother.
Good to be here.
Yeah, this audio thing was just the topper of my day. But I do want to give a big shout out to I believe her name was Cassandra over at the Three Rivers Myers, running her ass off for the pickups over there. So big shout out to you. She was way swamped, and they were having computer problems, and she was the only one there. So I didn't, as much as I'm one that I really don't like to. I'm not an excuse guy. You have a job, you get paid to do it. Let's do it. She was overly nice, apologetic. I could tell it was not her fault. She was trying her ass off, so can't really be mad at her. The 2Ks, yes, we are coming live from the 643 studio over here, sponsored by the Marcellus News. Go over to marcellusnews.com, get your virtual or print subscription, and keep up on this little town, Marcellus. We can shock some folks. Speaking of shocking folks, 2Ks, the Marcellus boys. What the hell happened? They were treading water all year. Now is it district finals now?
District finals tomorrow night. Yeah.
Big shout out to your dad.
Yeah.
Big 2Ks. Or TK, you can call him that.
TK, yeah, sure.
TK. And all his young men, we wish you well tomorrow. And you guys are representing Marcellus very, very well in the district. So kudos to you guys. And Marcellus, let's get out and support them.
Yeah,
let's get out and support
absolutely.
them. They're making a hell of a run. I'm not throwing shade on anybody, but I honestly didn't expect them to go this far. And I think they're shocking the world, 2Ks. What do you think?
Yeah, it's nice. And, they're young. They're a young team, and I think we all kind of knew that. It's going to take some time. Hey, peak at the right time of the season, and I can't think of any better time than when the district starts. So,
no.
Kudos to them. I wish all of them good luck tomorrow night, and hopefully they can bring another district championship home to the town of Marcellus.
I think it's the first one since 2017. Is that right?
Yeah, probably around that. Yeah.
All right. Well, boys. Troy, coach him up. Let's go. Christian, coach him up. Coach Reed, coach him up, boys. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Let's go. We love it. Well, 2Ks, what do you say we talk about some NFL rumors?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we are Sunday Selection Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday Selection Sunday, and probably, like we alluded to last week. I mean, I honestly think the way this whole field is seated is going to be extremely important with the way we've kind of had the parity in this whole the whole season. So I think it's going to be awesome. The one downfall is your team and my team won't be there.
Yeah,
won't be there. I mean, my team, my Irish were terrible this year.
Sure. Well, I can't really say much positive about Michigan. Unfortunately, it seemed like when we were just recording last week that they had a pretty good chance of getting in. They were playing against Illinois that night, and it was kind of like just the theme of the whole season. They could never win a close ball game, and they had Illinois that night. They ended up blowing that game, losing in the second overtime. They play Indiana on Sunday, and I still kind of had
another
the feeling
very close game.
If you can beat Indiana, you're probably in. I mean, after Purdue, Indiana arguably the next best team in the Big Ten. So, if they were and on the road, and they go into Bloomington and another close game, not able to pull it off though. And then today against now like you have to go win probably at least 2 games in this tournament to even have a chance of getting in. Some people still had them kind of on that as one of those last bubble teams, maybe possibly having to play a play-in game, but still making the tournament. Well, after the way that they played today against the Rutgers, it was ugly. It was like it definitely did not look like a team that back was against the wall and had everything on the line. They just didn't look ready to play at all. So, it's gonna be an interesting offseason for Juwan Howard and the boys, because they're gonna have to, in my opinion, they're gonna have to. It's gonna be a little bit of a reality check. They're gonna have to maybe change up their ways a little bit, and because what's been going on these last couple of years, it's not that they're a bad team by any means, but they're not very good. And you have to be, when you lose so many games by such a close margin, I tend to blame that on the coaching.
Yeah, and it's honestly seemed like these last 2 years were kind of prime for Howard and the boys to make a run.
I mean, you look at that trio that they have, and I'm talking Hunter Dickinson, Kobe Buffkin, and Jet Howard. You're hard pressed to find a better trio in all of college basketball than those 3. But so for me, to be a team that's basically playing right around 500, I think they ended the season maybe 2 or 3 games above 500. That's unacceptable. Yeah, it's unacceptable. You have to be better than that, especially when you have 3 players of that talent caliber. It's just, they have some things that they got to figure out there this offseason for sure, and there's a good chance they're going to lose 1 or 2 of those 3 that I just named off. So,
and with my Irish, it was Bray's last season, and another last season is Jim Boeheim.
Yeah.
He coached at Syracuse for 47 years.
Yeah.
Could you imagine having any job for 47 years?
Unbelievable.
I cannot.
Unbelievable.
I mean, you talk about dedication, and kudos to Syracuse for sticking with him that long. I mean, pretty much the only one that we kind of throw into that group, at least for me, is Coach K.
Yeah.
Well, Coach K was making runs. He 6 or 7 national titles. Boeheim had 1. That was in 2003, I believe, with Carmelo.
Yeah.
And always flirted with it.
Had a lot of Final Four teams.
Yeah.
And when I think of Jimmy Boeheim, we talked about Izzo last week, where he's earned that right to kind of go out on his own. Like he can decide when he's done, and I don't think with Izzo, I don't think Michigan State will ever fire that guy. No. He's earned it. He's earned that right. He's been, he bleeds green, and he's been that way since he's been there, like him or not. But he has earned that right to be like, I can choose when I'm done here, and that's how it's going to go. And so kudos to Syracuse for allowing that for Jimmy Boeheim.
Absolutely.
And kudos to Boeheim for I mean, when you think of the 2-3 zone.
He revolutionized it.
Yeah, I mean, and never went away from it. That's what they were going to run. Everybody knew it in college basketball. Whenever you played against them, that's what you needed to get ready for. And, man, I think of when I was younger, and that was kind of when Syracuse heydays, because I was coming just in middle school, going into high school when the middle school when the Carmelo team, but then even after that, going into the high school years where I played high school basketball with a team that's all we ran was the zone. We weren't athletic enough to guard anybody man to man, so we played zone. We played a lot of it, and we were really fucking good at it because that's what we ran all the way up. We bought into it. We knew we were not athletic enough to play, to match up man to man with most teams. So that's what we ran, and so he will always be one of my favorite head coaches just for that period, that point alone. I love teams that play zone. I love good zone. I love watching that kind of basketball.
And when you're talking about that zone in particular, I mean, you look at the impact it had not only in the college game but on the NBA game once they allowed zone defense, because he was a kind of like a mentor to a lot of these top NBA coaches. And like, all right, how the hell do you do this? Come in and show us. How do you do this? And like you said, one of the greatest things was everybody knew it was coming. Everyone knew it was coming. yet he was still extremely successful with it. He obviously recruited to that strength and was just, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you asked anyone that ever met Coach Boeheim, class act. Class act, and kind of a shame that he never won more than one, but winning one is very hard.
Sure.
Very hard. So, yeah, kudos to you. Kudos to Coach Bray. I mean, we've got 2 Hall of Fame coaches. I mean, Boeheim was already inducted in the Hall of Fame, so pretty much 2 Hall of Fame coaches retiring yet again.
And when you think about it, as far as like that comparison, trying to compare to other coaches and then trying to compare to other coaches of other sports, I think it's pretty safe to say winning a national championship in college basketball is probably the toughest team national championship there is to win. Like you have to win so many consecutive games in a short period of time. You have to play back-to-back. You have to be ready to play back-to-back. Well, not necessarily back-to-back, but one day of rest.
Yeah.
Not a lot of time to prepare for teams. Like it's a gauntlet that you have to go through.
Absolutely.
No home court advantage. Like you're playing basically every game on the road. So that's a tough championship to win. In my opinion, you get one. That's a very, very good accomplishment. You get more than one, now you're talking about Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah. Yeah, or like in the case of Boeheim, you're there, and pretty much you can say the same with Izzo.
Sure.
They're consistently every year. So.
And then when it comes down to guys like Boeheim, Izzo, when you're talking about Hall of Fame college basketball coaches, it's longevity.
Absolutely.
You hold down a job for that long. As long as those guys have done it with the same university, you're a Hall of Famer.
100%. 100%. Well, 2Ks, we've tickled that, but you know what? I have a feeling what's going to tickle the interest of a lot of our 2K crew are these NFL rumors, dude. I honestly, I guess in one hand could see a lot of this coming, but on the other hand, I didn't. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's been speculation about Aaron Rodgers heading who knows where, retiring. He was planning on spending 4 days in the darkness. I guess it's reported he only did 2. Pussy. But, I mean, I honestly didn't see the Jets being this big of a player. But you know what? We'll get into how much sense that makes because I want to touch a little bit on a lot of the other ones. Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson. Mm-hmm. Lamar Jackson, I mean, the fact that he got the non-restricted franchise tender kind of surprised some folks. But in my eyes, it didn't. Mm-hmm. And we'll kind of get into that a little more. But what surprised me the most is there's no teams out there that are like, hey, all right, we'll throw down 2 first-round picks and we'll negotiate with them. Mm-hmm. Now, 2K's, Lamar is an MVP, a former MVP. You look at the haul that Seattle got for Russ. Mm-hmm. 2 first, like a second and a third or whatever the hell it was. And Denver was absolutely terrible last year. Whether that was Russ's fault, the coach's fault, we'll just throw that aside. So it seems like a bargain for a team to go, all right, here's 2 first-round picks. Because that's what it takes when you non-franchise tender or non-restricted franchise tender. If he was restricted, the price goes up for this year, but no one has access to him except the Ravens. Yeah. So we'll kind of get into that a little bit. And just some of I'm honestly shocked that I know the league year doesn't start quite yet. And we're seeing a lot of these teams do some salary cap stuff to make room for, draft picks, and they're just kind of tidying up stuff. And honestly, we've seen the Jets made some moves to kind of clear some space, which would seem to Aaron Rodgers coming in. So kind of a boring time between the combine and the draft. Is not boring at all. It's not boring at all. I mean, this is what's leading the headlines in any sports show. So that's why we're leading off with this, even though I teased you guys with the thumbnail, and we will get into that. Well, let's dive into Aaron Rodgers real quick. I mean, obviously you could argue, you'll have guys, people on one side saying, no, Lamar is the biggest deal. Other people say no. Rodgers is the bigger deal. In my opinion, it's Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. I agree. I mean, he's Aaron Rodgers, especially like with a team like the Jets, where we see all the talent that they have on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, one of the best defenses in the NFL. But then they have all this young talent coming up on the offensive side of the ball, and getting, hopefully we see Breece Hall early in the season next year, healthy and ready to go. And then you add a quarterback of the caliber of Aaron Rodgers. Holy shit! I mean, that's the biggest deal. And so I don't know. I sat up here a couple weeks ago, the last time we were talking about this, and I said I don't think there's any chance Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay.
Me either.
And I think I thought the only way that he leaves Green Bay is if he retires. That's all. Well, now the way that things are starting to kind of fall into place here, and the way that the Jets are kind of handling things, freeing up money, it's almost starting. I'm almost starting to sway me like this is going to happen. So, and if it does happen, Jets are all of a sudden at the top. Mr. Cody Brazeman's going to be a happy man.
I posted something, I think it was yesterday or the day before, in the 2K crew, which on facebook.com/group/2K crew. Go ahead and jump in there. I took a screenshot of the Pat McAfee show. I was like, hey, Cody, come on, dude. And Cody was very nonchalant about it, because I had a feeling he didn't. As a Jets fan, you really don't want to get too excited about anything,
especially with Rodgers, because you just don't know how to read him.
Yeah, and there was another post just after mine. It was about the Knicks. Maybe he's the one that posted it, and I'm like, dude, your fandom is very weird. And he's like, well, you can't discount my loyalty. And I was like, oh, hell no. Hell no. I mean, you honestly root for horrible teams. And so, between Cody, Mike Greenberg, and Gary Vee, they're going to be the three happiest people on the planet, because that and Fireman Ed, I'm pretty sure if Fireman Ed sees this, he's going to be, or if Rodgers does come to the Jets, he's going to be excited as shit and get back there doing Fireman Ed things. But no, you're right. If you look at this team, they are set up to win, not only right now, but for a good little spot here. Yeah. I mean, you got Breece Hall, who before going down to injury was the Rookie of the Year. And you got, was it Garrett Wilson, the receiver, who ended up winning Rookie of the Year. Offensive line is decent.
You're probably the best rookie in all of the NFL last year. Yeah. Sauce Gardner on the defensive side of the ball. Absolutely. And then the second best rookie, who you already said would have been Rookie of the Year easy if he doesn't get hurt. And that's the only reason why I have him as the second best rookie right now is Breece Hall. So, I mean, absolutely. There's a lot to be excited about. Yeah. And being a Michigan fan and watching them play against Ohio State, I know the type of receiver Garrett Wilson is. Yes. So we didn't even get to see anything close to what Garrett Wilson's going to do in his career because of the fucking quarterback situation that the Jets had last year.
100%.
You get a guy of Aaron Rodgers' caliber throwing the football, give him a little bit of time to work together, and hopefully Rodgers decides he wants to practice with these guys and work out with these guys.
I think he will.
You get some. Garrett Wilson is a better talent than anybody that Green Bay had,
hands down.
In that receiver room all last year. So, I mean, right now, as far as if Rodgers wants to go chase a Super Bowl and win another Super Bowl before it's all said and done, his chances are better with the Jets than what they are in Green Bay, and that fucking shocks me that I just said that, and I can't believe it.
Shout out Cody Brazeman.
His chances are better there than what they are in Green Bay.
Now, would you
even going through that AFC gauntlet?
Well, let's shrink it down even further. That AFC East, with Rodgers at the helm, do you put them above Buffalo?
No, not yet. Not yet. I got to see it. And that's going to take time. It's not going to be something where Rodgers just walks in.
Oh, of course.
And, but we also need to see what happens this offseason with Buffalo. Can they keep everything intact? Can they keep all those big names there? They got a lot of, financial situations that they got to work through.
Their defensive coordinator left out of nowhere.
But Josh Allen right now, that is true. But Josh Allen right now, with the time that he's had with that group of receivers, they're another team that's starting to figure it out with the running back situation too. I thought their running game was better last year than what it has been in years, ever since Josh Allen's been there. So as of right now, I still give Buffalo that nod, but the Jets made it a lot. With the Jets, get Rodgers, it gets a lot more interesting.
And then kind of spinning it a little bit forward, there's rumors about Lamar to Miami. Now that, which I understand, and before we dive into that, let me give you my
Lamar and Tyreek on the same team, and Jalen Waddle.
Let me give you my, I guess you could call it a rant, but just my 2 cents on Lamar. I'm not going to talk about his passing ability. We all know how much he can run, and he's very good at it. Mm-hmm. I'm not discounting him as a quarterback. I'm just saying his style, I would be scared as shit as a GM to put up $200 million guaranteed. Mm-hmm. Now think about that, $200 million guaranteed, whether he plays or not. Mm-hmm. This isn't like a contract you can kick the can down the road and do all this other shit that all these general managers do with big contracts. This is guaranteed in his pocket, whether he plays or not, whether you trade him or not. What scare if I was an NFL GM, what would scare the daylights out of me is something that just Kevin Durant. Mm-hmm. NBA contracts are guaranteed. Yeah, I want out. Trade me. Now we've seen that in the NFL. We've seen it a lot. But they're not guaranteed contracts. So there's ways around it. There's ways you can funnel money here. And I don't care who the player is. Me as a general manager, I would be scared to give Patrick Mahomes $200 million guaranteed. And if I did give someone $200 million guaranteed, he would be the one. But that's, and I honestly think, I mean, I guarantee the handful of folks that are watching live and that are going to listen to this podcast, we're sports fans. We hear everything. And we've heard all of this from, it's a racial thing, it's this, it's that, he doesn't have an agent. I think all of that's bullshit, especially the race part. That's bullshit. I think it comes down to his style, getting hurt. Has he been a diva? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I know. I that's the thing about it. Is like I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't know how I would handle that, but I keep on going back to like he's done everything and then some for the city of Baltimore.
He's had zero receivers, too.
Baltimore has done nothing to help him. Like they've done nothing.
Yeah.
They haven't helped him with receivers. Fuck, they going into last year they let their best go.
Yeah.
And then expect him to just he's gotten nothing in return. And for a team like Miami, like Miami's in win now mode right now. They have to be. They have to be. You don't go out and make a move to bring in Tyreek Hill in and pay the money that you're with Tyreek Hill if you're not in win now mode. You don't make the trades that they made last year to juice up the defensive side of the ball if you're not in win now mode. Like you have to be in that win now mode now. And is Tua going to be healthy? Is Tua going to be able to play? There's too many questions there right now for me with Tua, and I think Miami's in this spot right now where they need to win, and you got to have a quarterback to win in this league.
Absolutely.
And Lamar Jackson's the best option out there.
Yeah.
Are you willing to put up the money? I mean, I don't know. I'm not in that room. I'm not in that quarterback room. I'm not in that locker room. I don't know where they're at with Tua. You know, Tua showed that when he was healthy last year, he is good enough to win a lot of football games. He is good enough to Tua wasn't even healthy and they still made the playoffs. So they are, they're good enough. And I think that if Tua is healthy and plays every single game of the year, I think that they can go on and get to make a Super Bowl run. But if you bring in Lamar Jackson as your quarterback, your chances are a lot better.
Yeah.
Are a lot better. because we know what kind of runner he is. And I still think he's a pretty good thrower of the football too. I don't think he's elite. But if you have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, it's just get the ball to them in space. They have a running game there also. They have an offensive line. Like, they have everything going for them. They need a quarterback, and they need a quarterback that's going to be there and to be able to suit up every single game. And the thing, it can be said that Lamar Jackson wants to run the ball, maybe runs the ball a little bit too much. Well, he's healthy. It's not like he's missing games or has a knack of missing a lot of games in his NFL career. He's pretty damn good at not getting hit.
The last 2 years he's been kind of banged up.
A little bit.
But I have a feeling this last year, the reason you didn't see the urgency coming back, the cards are already on the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even though he came out and said it was not a business decision, bullshit. Bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, I think so many times fans, especially, they get caught up in this, just go out and play. Just go out and play. No, fuck that.
It's your job.
At the end of the day, fuck that. At the end of the day, all of us have jobs, right? And all of us want to advance in those jobs, right? And all of us don't want to get taken advantage of at our job. Well, that's the same thing for these professional athletes. Are they making more money than all of us? Fuck yeah, they are. But you know what? It's a business for them. They want to make sure that they're healthy. They want to make sure that they have all the best opportunities to make the most money for them and their family, and for set up their future after playing this football. So I'm a huge sports fan, and I'm the last person that wants to hear that bullshit from people. Like, no, it's a business. At the end of the day, it's a fucking business, and that's how it works. And I don't blame him one bit for it. If you're not going to give me any help, why the fuck should I be throwing my body out there carrying the ball 15 to 20 times a game for you? Fuck that.
No, another team that makes a lot of sense is Atlanta. And now, granted, both these teams have come out and said, no, we're not in it. Pretty much every team that needs a quarterback said, yeah, no, we're not in it. We're not in it. And there was a lot, I mean, everyone's talking about collusion and all this other bullshit. And it's like, no, I mean, you're trying to tell me that I have to give up 2 first-round picks, which for a talent like that, I mean, the picks aren't really the issue here. It's the guaranteed money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's the guarantee. Now, did the Browns extremely mess up the whole quarterback market? Yes. Yes. Was that an anomaly? Yes. There have been players since free agency started, back in the 70s or 80s, whenever the hell it was, that have been trying to get a contract, not so much monetarily similar, but in the structure similar. That it's a party, Main Street party that Deshaun got. So I think you found an owner that was desperate, an owner that was trying to pretty much say, fuck it, let me write a check. Let me write a check. Now, one of the things I didn't know about this non-exclusive franchise tag, because it came out that if you didn't have a first-round pick this year, you can't put 2 first-round picks in and negotiate with Lamar. However, after watching Pat McAfee today, he had one of the Lombardis on. And he says, no, there's ways around that. Because Lamar is not under contract. A team can negotiate with him and his mom, which is his agent essentially. They can work out a deal. They go back to the team and say, hey, we'll give you this and this or this. We'll deal with Lamar. And then if they agree, Lamar signs the tender, and then they trade him. So there's ways around it. There's ways around it. And as far as on the Ravens side, I don't blame them for doing this. They put that tag on Lamar for the other teams to set the market.
Sure.
Because they have the right to match that deal. If someone throws 2 first-round picks and wants to negotiate, that's the play. Because they're saying, hey, we think our numbers were good enough. Obviously, you don't. So it's kind of like, hey, go be a free agent, but not really, because we still have your rights. You're not under contract, but we still have your rights, and we can match that. Now, if I'm Lamar, I want out of Baltimore. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 100% done. Because, like you said, the best receiver I've had since I've been in the league, trade him away.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Now, Mark Andrews, stud.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews, top 5 tight end. Could kind of argue a top 15 receiver or 10 receiver
Sure.
in the whole league. But that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So, have they had a good defense? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Have they had a good running game? Hell, you look 2 years ago, they're on their 5th and 6th running back, and we're still very, very good.
Right.
But as far as the offense is concerned,
no, they've done nothing to help.
What are you
And
doing me?
Even talking about Hollywood Brown, he's not a number one.
No.
I mean, he was their number one for that time, but he's not a number one receiver there.
No.
You know, and if he is your number one receiver, you got some issues with your receiving room. If he's your go-to number one guy, and that's no knock on him, he's a great wide receiver, but I'm talking number ones. Every
Justin
team
Jefferson,
has to have them.
Jamar
Yes,
Chase,
yes, yeah. I mean, there's
Tyreek Hill.
20 wide receivers in the NFL that and I'm not going to go off
take
and name
Mark
them,
Andrews over
but there's
him,
20
to be honest
fucking
with you.
wide receivers in the NFL that I would take before I took Hollywood Brown.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I have a feeling that Lamar's days are done in Baltimore. It's just a matter of, because I mean, you look at a team like Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've already kind of talked about the Dolphins. Atlanta, you look at Atlanta's history. Mike Vick, that type of thing, that electric factory that he was. I honestly think Lamar is better than Mike Vick was. Even at his creme de la creme, you know, Michael Vick is for those of you that aren't old enough, Michael Vick was the reason they put, instead of just the first down line, they put the line of scrimmage line just to see his ass go all the way around the field before something happened. So Michael Vick was a transcendent player. Not taking anything away from Mike Vick, he was, like I said, one of one. Lamar Jackson is a better athlete, a better runner, and a better passer than Mike Vick was. So and it's still the same ownership. So I have a feeling that they would be a player. I mean, there's probably 10 teams you could list off that could benefit from Mr. Jackson's services. I mean, you take Indy. I mean, why the hell not? And I have a feeling this is Mr. Justin Wares has got to go to work, maybe catch some WBC later, dudes. Hashtag Hot Seat Howard. Big shout out to Jay Stone.
Yeah, typical Spartan fan there. They're always the only thing they ever look at is trying to look for something where Michigan's failing at because they have nothing to look forward to for their own.
Well, I mean, looks like they're going to the dance.
Oh yeah, they're gonna go to the dance and they'll be packing their shit and heading home. Before we get through the first weekend.
So
but kudos to them. Kudos
Yeah.
to them. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the highlight of Spartan's entire year of all sports. Absolutely, kudos to it.
You watch.
Congratulations. Yeah.
I'm gonna clip this.
I could not imagine being so unhappy with all my own teams that the only thing I do is look for negativity out of my biggest rival. Like the only thing I can. I gotta. Things are not good with Michigan didn't make the tournament. Hot seat Juwan Howard. I cannot imagine being so unhappy with my own team that the only thing I do is look for bad takes on another team.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna clip this we're about 45 minutes in. I'm gonna clip this. Just in case Sparty makes a run, we can bring it back up.
Okay.
Bring it back up.
They ain't making no fucking run.
I really don't think so either. And
but they made the tournament. They're going to make the tournament, absolutely. And
which is what, like 24 years in a row or something?
That's the highlight of Michigan State's athletics of the whole year 2022-2023 year.
Well, but before I bring up the next comment, which was actually before Justin's, but is there any other NFL rumors that I heard one on Pat McAfee today that the Rams are shopping Matthew Stafford.
I saw that.
And obviously the biggest kind of roadblock to that is about $70 million.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling Mr. Stafford will remain in LA, at least for the time being. Getting towards the trade deadline, things might shake up because that LA team is kind of in a rebuilding.
I mean, that's that. And look, we all knew that this was going to happen. They threw all their cards in, and it worked. They won a Super Bowl, and that's all that matters. They won, but now you got your Super Bowl. Now it's going to be watching, some of these key players, some of these big time names be shopped, be taken, out of there. I don't think Jalen Ramsey will be back next year.
No.
He'll be, in it with a different team.
No.
Stafford, the money situation is going to be tough to move him, but we'll see. There's going to be some teams that are there, and obviously Matthew Stafford's going to be an upgrade. And
Absolutely.
I think people might bite on taking that money hit just to do what the Rams did a couple years ago, be able to make a run. So,
and he's shown he can do it. Mm-hmm. Now, I have a feeling if you move him, do you move Kupp as well? I mean, there's a whole other storyline going on in the West Coast, so kind of keep an eye on that and trade these guys, get some of the picks back that you gave up to get a lot of these guys, and we shall see. But those are my two big ones. I mean, honestly, those are the ones garnering the most headlines.
Yeah, I haven't. I see some of the big names being talked about, but I don't follow it a whole lot now. I'm more of a let's talk after it happens than speculate. There's so much trying to speculate on what's going to happen and how things are going to shake out these next couple of weeks. It's the NFL is the biggest drawing point of all of sports in America.
Absolutely.
So everybody's looking for something to talk about every single day when it's not football season to try to bring up the NFL, and that's what a lot of this shit is. I mean, there's a good chance season starts for this next season, and Aaron Rodgers is going to suit up in a Green Bay uniform. But right now, there's a lot to talk about where there's a possibility that he is going somewhere. So
now, kind of to piggyback off that, there's a LaFleur over in
fired.
He got fired in New York. Okay.
Yep.
I thought it was like, all right, no.
Now, Saleh, the head coach with the Jets, was obviously worked with Matt as a defensive coordinator.
And he's got Nathaniel Hackett back over there too.
Yes.
So that's a huge. I mean, won two MVPs with Nathaniel Hackett. So we shall see. I mean, it seems like the writing's on the wall. And with any other player, I would say you can book this 100%. Aaron Rodgers is a complete wild card. I'm not even sure Aaron knows what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Or maybe he wants to play again, but it's like, all right, well. And it's got to be hard too. Like we talked about Boeheim, 47 years. Aaron's been with the Packers for 18 years. Won a Super Bowl. Probably should have won some more. 4-time league MVP. So that's your building.
Yeah.
And on top of that, when it was Favre's building, you've gone above and beyond him. Maybe not stats wise, but wins, MVPs, same amount of Super Bowls.
Efficiency,
Yes.
stats wise,
Yes.
maybe not as much as Favre, but efficiency wise,
He's
probably the best we've ever seen as far as that goes.
might be the best thrower of the football we've ever seen.
Yeah,
So-
and it's I'm not a huge Packers. I'm not a Packers fan at all. I'm not. What the fuck am I trying to say? I'm not a fucking Packers fan at all. But I remember when Favre left and goes and plays with the Jets and plays with the Vikings, and it was just like I can't imagine this guy in a different uniform.
Yep.
I can't fucking imagine Aaron Rodgers with a different uniform on, and for it to be, if it was to be a Jets uniform, which we saw Favre leave Green Bay and do that also. What the fuck? It's just it's weird. It's weird to think about. Obviously, if it does happen, it's gonna shake up the whole, the whole year next year. And it's gonna and for us as fans, that's gonna be great to watch. I love watching situations like this play out, and I think at the end of the day, I think it's kind of what Green Bay wants. They're looking for that. They're looking for that out. They don't want to burn bridges, obviously, and they don't want to piss off their fan base. But if Rodgers wants out, then I think that's the best way. That's the best way. Yeah, exactly. That's their easy transition where nobody's going to take any heat, and they're going to be able to move on with their quarterback, who.
And they're only asking for first rounder.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
we're talking about Lamar 2 first-rounders and $200 million guaranteed. Granted, longer time period. And I have a feeling that what's kind of the linchpin right now is how many years. Because if you're the Jets, do you trade a first-rounder for 1 year? Or are you looking for 2, possibly 3?
Oh, if I'm the Jets, I'm willing to trade a first rounder for 1 year.
Yeah.
With
that roster, I would too.
Yeah, you have to think like you're in win now mode right now. You get 1 year of Aaron Rodgers. Hey, let's fucking go. And then if you make a run and I think you get him back. So yeah, I think anything that it takes to get Aaron Rodgers in the door, especially if you're only talking about 1 first rounder.
It's been 11 hours at his house.
Yeah, and how many first rounders have the Jets had here in recent years? I mean, but how many have they had in recent years? So they've had they have plenty of that's why they have the talent that they have now is because of all these early picks that they've kind of stockpiled on.
Absolutely.
And that's where in all sports it pays to be shitty for a little bit of time. It does. It pays. I mean,
we've kind of seen it with the Lions.
Absolutely.
To be honest with you.
Absolutely.
So I mean, we have some firsthand, real, local kind of proof of that. But let's kind of transition from that back to March Madness here, and I want to bring up something that I honestly have no idea who this was because this is Facebook user, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this gentleman's last name, but Greg Campy at Oakland U, a Hall of Famer too. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I really don't follow Oakland basketball. I know they, if you're referring to Oakland, Michigan, they make some March Madness runs.
Yeah.
They make some March Madness runs. So I mean, I'm gonna opt out of that one because I don't know. Whoever Facebook user you are, you obviously dive way farther into the college hoops than I do. But 2Ks, I titled the live stream "Most Overrated Team in March Madness." Put up a picture of Kansas. Now, granted, I think they're playing right now, or
they won big today.
They won big without Bill Self.
Yeah,
because he was sick. And watching ESPN2 right now, Oklahoma State is down 35-50 to Texas in the Big 12. This Big 12 conference, 2Ks, is electric, to be honest with you. It's electric. You have a 7 seed that's 18-4. Like we kind of touched on Texas last week with a lot of the scrutiny around that team, around the coaching. I can see, I mean, to only have 8 losses with all that, kudos to them. I mean, because that cannot be easy. That cannot be easy. And I was kind of looking for a conference to kind of step up where the ACC and the Big Ten kind of weren't as lackluster as the last handful of years. And I guess, we kind of talked before we went live. You really like this Kansas team.
I do.
Which, I mean, I do too. I mean, Bill Self is a phenomenal coach.
He's the best.
Yes.
He's the best coach in the business now. And look, when we talk about Coach K, him going out last year and how he was the best. He was the best of our time in college basketball, and absolutely you can't argue it. Mm-hmm. But I think they're in that last maybe that last 10 years of Coach K's time at Duke, and then throw in Bill Self during that time. Bill Self was the better coach. Mm-hmm. Kansas, what they've done in recent years is better than what Coach K was doing in his last 10 years. Maybe is a little bit of a stretch, but his last 6-7 years, Bill Self had passed him up as who I believe is the best coach in college basketball.
To your point, you could take a 10-year span where Coach K would have had 3 good years. Bill Self would have the other 7.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. The only other coach who I would even throw into this debate is Jay Wright, and he walked out. He wasn't at Villanova this year, so. Mm-hmm. But he's the only other guy that I can throw into that conversation. And to me, to be a part of that conversation, you're talking about 3 of the best college coaches of all time. So
what happened to Jay Wright?
I don't know. he was done.
Done?
Walked away from it. I don't know if possibly we'll see him again and here in the future. Phenomenal coach, Hall of Fame coach. What he did at Villanova, Villanova wasn't even on the map.
No.
That's the thing about when you talk about Duke and Kansas, and like they've been on the map for a long time. Mm-hmm. Villanova wasn't on the map until Jay Wright walked in there.
Yeah.
And then turned them into a
powerhouse.
Yeah, blue blood. I mean, he made him a blue blood. So,
and I mean, it's weird with coaching because we're seeing, and it's even more relevant for me because I'm a little older than you. Is all the guys that have been entrenched in this were, how like you said, 47 years for Jim Boeheim. Coach Bray was over 20. Coach Krzyzewski was over 40. We've seen. I think Izzo was over 20 years. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like that passing of the torch, and it's very exciting to see these guys, these new guys, kind of try to put their stamp. We've seen North Carolina turnover. Just you could just go down the list and all this turnover, and it's kind of exciting to see. But on the other hand, I hope that these teams have a little bit more leniency with these new coaches as they did with the old ones, because I have a feeling Coach K was a very big draw to go to Duke to play basketball.
Oh, for sure. And these coaches today, let's just be real. Like
they have to be handpicked by
what they're dealing with too. That these other coaches, Coach K didn't have to deal with it until late in his career, and I'm talking Tom Izzo also, who hasn't had to deal with this until now. Some of these coaches that have been around for so long.
Yeah.
And what you're dealing with now, as far as the NIL and how there's being money thrown all over the place for these kids to come there. There's so many opportunities for these kids to go, not even have to go play college sport, college ball. They can go play get into these they go overseas. They can get into these, all kinds of shit. So, and you don't see the players that stick around anymore that play for more than a year. It's mostly
except for that Timmy kid in
players.
Gonzaga.
Yeah, that's just because 7-footers that can't step out and shoot the ball on the perimeter you don't need them in the NBA. So guys like that, it's just like it's the same thing with the Dickinson kid from Michigan.
Yeah.
His game just does not translate to the NBA. He can't. He's not a guy that can step out and consistently knock down shots. He doesn't guard the rim very well. I mean, he's gotten significantly better here in this last year. I thought he made a huge improvement this year on it, but his game doesn't translate to the pros, so that's why he's a guy that sticks around for so long. So you see that with bigs mostly.
But good on him.
I'm talking your guards, your more of your specialty players. Like if you have that, you don't even have to have it at 18, 19 years old. You just have to have the potential, and these NBA teams are ready to take a chance on you. Whether you put up, I mean, look. I follow Michigan basketball. Obviously, there's been so many guys, guards, forwards that Juwan Howard has recruited into Michigan that have left after 1 year.
Yeah.
And if you look at their numbers, you're like, what the fuck is this kid leaving after 1 year for? He's never going to make it. And there's a chance that he doesn't ever make it. But he has the potential to be very good. So what I'm trying to get at is trying to coach now is so much different than coaching in the early 2000s. And, where a lot of these guys that we're talking about when we're talking about Bill Self, Izzo, Coach K, Boeheim, those guys, were all coaching in the early 2000s where they've at. So it's a whole different ballgame now. Kids used to be proud, and there used to be a kind of a school spirit that you jumped behind.
Yes.
You played for that university, you played for that school. Yes, and that meant something to you. We're past that now, and it's unfortunate. And I think that's why college basketball isn't what it used to be. Because you don't have that anymore. I think there's so many drawing factors now. Money takes over everything, and it's a lot more of me, and not so much what you do for that university anymore. Yeah, and that's the unfortunate thing.
I honestly think out of any college coach, we're going to throw Nick Saban out of this, okay? Any sport, any college coach, with the rules set in place. Now, granted, football rules different than basketball rules, but the rules that are set in place, I think the coach that's set up regardless where he coaches, to take advantage of all of these rules, Calipari.
Oh, sure.
I mean, this plays right into his hand. He's the one and done king. He has the clout. He has the connections. He has that swagger about him. Come see me, play for a year, get in the league, and while you're here, we're gonna make you a shit ton of money. We're gonna make you a shit ton of money.
And unfortunately, he found that kind of that even before, like even these kids were making money before this NIL shit. They all these
Let's
coaches,
not be naive,
especially coaches like Calipari, they were finding any loophole they could find.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate in kind of the way that the NBA is and how you can't leave and go straight from high school to the NBA and just the way that the rules are. And there's so many different leagues that you can get into now and play basically this semi-pro. Yeah. To where football, that's why I still think college football still has that it means something for some universities it probably doesn't. But for like, if you're an Alabama guy and like these guys that are in the NFL today that played at Alabama, like that means something that they played at Alabama. You are a guy from Ohio State, like you fucking bleed Ohio State. You hate Michigan with a burning passion. You played at Michigan. You have a passion for that university, and you hate Ohio State. And Georgia, you can say the same. Like guys are proud. LSU, those big universities like that. That's where I still think college football has it. Like they don't. There's not other avenues that they can go down. Like your choice is, if you want to go play in the NFL someday, your choice is you're going to put in a couple years at the college level before you get there. So where at the NBA level, there's so many different avenues that you can go down, and you only technically have to play 1 year. To where in college football, you have to put in 3 years before you can, or 2 years of eligibility or whatever before you can move on. But in basketball, you just have 1 year. So that 1 year, it doesn't really mean anything. This is just my bridge until I get to,
I'm just trying not to get hurt.
Exactly.
I don't give a shit about a national title.
I don't give a fuck about anything. If we win one, great. When the tournament comes around, great. But
now let me pose this to you. And this is completely off the cuff. We have not talked about this. This wasn't even slated as a topic, but you kind of brought it up. And do you think that with the kind of emergence of, or if the XFL and USFL get bigger, do you think that'll deter?
No, because I don't think it will ever get bigger than
because
the
of
brand
NIL?
of college. I don't think it'll ever get bigger than. Well, NIL helps, obviously, yeah. But the brand of college football, I don't think it will ever. The only thing that'll ever beat it is the NFL.
Yeah.
Like it's safe to say, football runs this country. When it comes to sports, it's all about football. But the NFL is, I mean, that's the biggest. That's the biggest. But college football, they have found a way to be able to keep it, and this NIL has helped. But they found a way to keep the college football at the tops, because after NFL, the next thing that people want to watch in this world is not any other sport; it's college football. So the XFL is great for guys that go to some of these universities that aren't talked about as much. Even if they do go to those, the guys that we don't see a whole lot, the guys that we're not talking about a whole lot, the guys that don't get drafted.
You go to Bama and you're a third string linebacker and never see the field.
And that's where the XFL, to me, is you're talking guys that weren't given that, they didn't get that opportunity. They weren't drafted. They weren't
got hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like your second chance, and that's what I like about the XFL. I would imagine probably here in recent years to come, we'll start to see more XFL teams kind of take off, and where we'll get more guys that are kind of going through the same thing. So that's what I like about it. But I don't think that we'll ever see an avenue, and it would be a huge mistake if we ever do, where you take college football away, because the way that they've taken college basketball away with all these different things, it's really, really ruined the game. And I don't think people follow college basketball anymore until March Madness.
Yeah.
And
unless you're a very solid, dedicated fan to a team.
Sure. Yeah. March Madness, the tournament, is the only thing that's holding college basketball above water to me anymore.
Me?
Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, college basketball was that was my jam. That was my favorite thing of the whole year to watch. That trumped everything. And now I don't follow college basketball hardly at all until now. Like now that the tournaments are starting up, absolutely. I won't miss a game when the tournaments start up.
However, I raised my hand. I was the first one to say I don't pay nearly as much attention to college basketball as I used to. Mm-hmm. However, reigning, defending, bracket challenge champion right here. So if you guys and gals want to come after my title, after Selection Sunday, there will be a link in the group. Sign up. $10, 3 teams on ESPN. Come try to get it. Laying it out there, right there. You guys and gals, right there. 2K crew, come get my title. 2Ks, you come get my fucking title. You come get it. You come get it.
I fucking suck at those all the time. Even going back to when I used to watch college basketball like religiously. I used to watch it every single night of the week. I knew things about every team in the nation, and I still sucked at those things. I don't know what it is, but I cannot fill out a bracket. The only thing I'm worse at, and it doesn't take any skill for these, but the only thing I have worse luck on are those fucking squares.
Yeah.
I've bought into so many squares in my lifetime, and I don't think I've ever won one.
I won big once at a bar that shall remain nameless. Was running a pretty big one. It was $50 to get in, and it was on the national title game, Notre Dame, Alabama. Mm-hmm. We all know the outcome of it, but I had there was a payout. I want to say it was $100 every score change, and once the money ran out, no matter what the score was, payouts were done. But if there was left over, whoever got the last score change got the big bucks. Well, I had Notre Dame with 0-1 a lot, so I won quite a bit. Mm-hmm. I won quite a bit with 2 squares. I think I ended up coming out of that about a cool $1,000 ahead, and was rather intoxicated down at Jay's Lounge in Niles and didn't even know it, because when the bartenders at said bar texted me my numbers, and I didn't really know I just thought it was first, second, third, fourth. Had no idea what he sent me, but oh no, that's right. It was every score, and then your numbers changed every quarter. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I ended up cashing in pretty darn good, pretty darn good. However, did have to buy a round once I got to the bar. But you know what? $75 for a round, cool 1,000 in winnings, and I probably dumped another 200 that night. So probably all in all about $600 ahead. So it is what it is. It is what it is. With 2Ks, let's go to our top 5. Let's go to our top 5, and we've done some sports top 5s. We've done some non-sports top 5s. Kind of it was kind of a sports top 5, kind of top 5 tailgating food. I wanted to expand upon that. Top 5 pizza, I guess, restaurants, spots, pretty much anything but takeout or oven stuff. So no DiGiorno's here.
No Tombstones?
No Tombstones. No Red Barons. You might have to redo your list. But obviously this is going to be kind of Regency bias, of course. But you and I have traveled a little bit.
A little bit. I am not one that's been around the world, been around the U.S. and tested a lot of different pizzas. And I have to be really honest with you. People that are listening to this are probably going to be like, what the fuck, 2Ks? Like, my pizza is very, very simple. I love pizza, but I love simple pizza.
I was just going to say, when you go into a joint, what's your go-to pie?
Just pepperoni.
Pepperoni?
Just pepperoni. I'm very very simple, yes.
You basic bitch. Give me the supreme. I want the veggies. I want the meat.
Sure. Yeah. I'll eat it. I'll eat you. About any fucking pizza you put in front of me, I'm gonna eat.
But your favorite's just
pepperoni. Yeah.
Now, do you like loaded, like covered pepperoni? Does it matter?
Pizza's, sparingly. That's why, it pains me that I can't have Tombstone on my list here, because a Tombstone pepperoni pizza is that's in my top 5. I mean, I'm gonna throw it out right now. fuck your rules. Tombstone's pepperoni pizza is my number 5.
All right. And you and I had this conversation a long time ago, whether it was on air or not.
Yeah.
I can't remember. And you said one of your greatest pleasures, throwing in a frozen pizza. And now you, Mrs. 2K's 3 kids now. You threw it in when you were alone at home and got to eat it all by yourself.
Yes. When it comes to frozen pizzas in the Kaler household, I'm very strategic. I don't throw those in the oven when there's a whole house full. I throw Tombstones in when everybody leaves. Like, everybody leaves the house, and I'm like,
Now, if we're talking frozen pizzas, have you tried the Screamin' Sicilians?
I don't think so.
They sell them at DG. You said pepperoni.
Mm-hmm.
There's some of them that actually have pepperoni on the outside of the crust. These are the best frozen pizzas I've ever had. They have some that are kind of like your pan crust, where it's a little crunchy all around. They have some thin crust. Kind of runs the whole gamut.
Sure.
Kind of runs the whole gamut. And they're the same price as DiGiorno or a little bit cheaper. Way better. Which to be honest with you, I've never been a DiGiorno fan. They get the job done.
Yeah, they're good.
They're not my favorite.
They're fine. But Tombstones are my go-to.
It's your go-to?
Yep.
Now my number 5, I'm going to go classic. Just your normal Pizza Hut pan. Got to have pan. There's a lot of folks that don't like the pan, but I like the buttery, crispy crust. That's my jam. And normally, when you get a Pizza Hut pizza, now I'm going way back in time when you actually went into Pizza Hut and sat down as a kid. You know, you got the book it things and you got the personal pan pizzas. That was the shit back then. They do a pretty good job with the toppings, with the cheese. Normally don't skimp. So my number 5, still, now you can't get Pizza Hut. You can pick it up, which kind of wasn't. I was trying to push kind of Heisman Little Caesars out of here, even though it's owner Detroit. I get it. Yeah. I mean, if you've bought a Little Caesars pizza, you probably paid some of Miguel Cabrera's contract. Sure. I get it. The Jackson household, we contribute to that about twice a month. So I get it. Not my favorite. Does the job. But as far as like chain wise, I got to go Pizza Hut.
See, I like both of them, but I give the nod to Little Caesars. So my number 4 on my list, I'm going to go Pizza Hut.
Okay.
But I'm going pepperoni and I'm going stuffed crust.
I like
the stuffed crust.
If the stuffed crust was thicker on the bottom,
well, it is a very thin pizza. Yeah. And then it seems one thing that bothers me with Pizza Hut a little bit is they put so many pepperonis on there. Like, I like to tell them to take it easy.
Overwhelmed with the pepperonis.
A little bit too much on there.
But you're kind of in the minority. It seems like a lot of folks are like,
they want more. Yeah.
I want 2 pounds of pepperoni on this fucking pie.
I want the pizza. I'm getting the pizza because I want the fucking pizza. I don't want the. A lot of people like to load it up with toppings, and I don't mind that. But and my wife is one of them. My wife wants all the toppings that you can get on there. Chel's like, throw them all on there, and she'll eat like one piece of pizza, and she's full. Yeah. I want pizza where I can eat like 5 or 6. Pizza's comfort food to me, so I'm looking to be comfortable for a while. I don't want just one piece. I want to eat like half a pizza.
Well, if Chell ate half a pizza, it'd be harder to be the jumping jack champion.
Absolutely, yeah.
So,
I mean, somebody in the house has got to hold that down, and it's not going to be me because I like to eat half pizzas and full Tombstones. So
maybe Nolan.
Yeah,
I mean, the girls are gymnastics. Maybe they can carry that torch. My number 4. I'm going to go Jack's Pizza, Portage.
I love that. That's on mine list too, man.
It's a good pie. It's a good pie. Thin, yes, it's contradictory to what I just said about the about the Pizza Hut. But the reason I said the pan style with Pizza Hut is that's my favorite at Pizza Hut. At Jack's, I can get just about anything. Chicken bacon ranch. I mean, they have a lot of what you would consider like gourmet, without being completely over the top. Because I mean, let's be honest, you can throw anything on a pie, but we're talking like traditional pizza. Give me a supreme, or I mean, even just veggies. I like veggies on my pizza, and I know it's kind of controversial, 2K crew, but I don't mind a Hawaiian every now and again. Is it my favorite? No. Is it my go-to? No. Is it a good change-up? Yeah. You get the ham, you get the pineapple, you get the onion, a little bit of mushrooms on there. Really good. But as far there's sometimes that the pineapple is just too sweet. Too sweet. And the value of the pineapple has a lot to do with the sauce. The sauce is sweeter. The pineapple's a no. If the sauce is a little bit more salty and not as sweet, then yes, give me that. Jack's Pizza, and on top of that, Jack's Pizza, you can get a good meal regardless of pizza.
Yeah.
I've never had a bad meal there. Beers are relatively priced, so you're not going to pay an arm and a leg. So I'm going Jack's, number 4. You're number 3.
Number 3, a lot of you guys probably never had it, but to me, the pizza's not phenomenal. It's good pizza. It's solid pizza, but it's the only fucking pizza that will deliver to my house. Jasper's in Lawton. It's not bad pizza. To me, it's a little bit overpriced, but you know what?
You're getting it delivered.
They deliver it right to my fucking couch. I don't have to cook it. I don't have to drive to it.
Yep.
I don't have to go anywhere for it. They bring it right to my door, and that cracks my top 5 easy. I am a big time fan of their chicken Alfredo pizza.
Ooh.
My wife Chella is a big time fan of the chicken pesto pizza, and my kids all just like plain cheese pizza. Yeah. So most of the time when we order from there, we just order 3 small pizzas, and we all get it. The kids will eat we'll hammer the cheese. Well, normally I get a medium cheese pizza, so they can all eat that, and then Chella and I get our personal pizzas of what we want. But you know what? It's delivered right to our house. We don't have to go anywhere for it. It's simple, and that's why it cracks my top 5.
Have you ever had Jasper's when I've been over?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I think normally it's Jelly Bellies.
We used to get it all the time on Sundays, up until I started working on Sundays. But we were sitting around the house watching football all day. I can't think of a better day just to have. Normally hungover as fuck.
Yeah.
Let's just have this pizza delivered to us, and we'll bow down on pizza. Yeah, exactly. So that's it's great. It's a great hungover pizza.
And I don't want to change out of my pajamas.
Yeah. Yep.
My number 3. I don't know. This one's a tough one. Because I've got my creme de la creme, but the fillers. That's where
I have a bunch of them too. And I've had Chicago style pizza. I've been to Chicago many times. Chell and I just went there last year, and tested a couple different places. And if I was just going off flavor alone, these pizzas would be in there. But the thing is, it's a pizza that I have one time, every couple of years. So for them to be in my top 5, they're not. My top 5 pizzas are very, very boring, simple pizzas that I have that I can get at any time of the week.
Yeah. Oh, my number 3. Well, I'm going to slide number 2 down because I don't want to take up any more time thinking. Because I'm going to go Manelli's. Again, another spot that you can't have a bad meal. Everything is moderately priced. You and your lady can get out with drinks, $75, $80, and their pizza, phenomenal. And if you're in Portage during the week, during lunch buffet, boom, absolutely amazing.
Yep,
absolutely amazing. And service is usually top par. If drink-wise, if you want something to drink that they don't have, you're going to be hard-pressed. But they have I think it's a chicken Alfredo pizza that is awesome. It's got chicken, Alfredo, bacon, onions. I add mushrooms to it. And I think a big-ass large one's like $20. Can't beat that. But then again, thin crust, handmade crust. So, love it. Love it.
Yeah. I know. Speaking of chicken Alfredo pizza, and this one's not in my top 5, and the only reason why it's not in my top 5 is because I don't think I've ever had their pizza sober. And that's Cottage Inn. Cottage Inn, that place, I don't know what the fuck, who works those hours, but they would deliver us pizza when I was in college at like 4 a.m. Yeah.
Yep.
And so I would order a chicken Alfredo pizza all the time, or like, we'd have a house full, so maybe we'd order 3 or 4 of them, and everybody would just chip in a bunch of money, and I ate it all the time, and I was like, this is the best fucking pizza of all time. But the problem is I don't remember eating it. Like, I remember it in the time, and then like the next morning I remember cleaning up all the boxes.
Yep.
And I remember being very happy when I was eating it,
Yep.
but I couldn't have it in my top 5 because I just don't think I've ever had Cottage Inn pizza without having alcohol.
Well, I'm going to jump ahead of you. My number 2 is Cottage Inn.
Okay, so it must be good.
Oh, and add on top of that, when I was at Western, we lived at Jefferson Commons, which if you go down Drake Road, that Cottage Inn is right there. Go down over here, that's where Jefferson Commons was. Well, a buddy of mine worked at that, shout out Justin Guffey, he worked at that Cottage Inn. A friend of ours in Novi, his parents owned like 3 franchises over there. So we went to go see Haji, and we got to make our own pies and got to see how it was made. Now, granted, this is 20 years ago.
Sure.
And that fucking ages me. But yeah, I was in college 20 years ago, and just to see like the quality of ingredients, that pan style pizza like we talked about with the Pizza Hut on mine, absolutely amazing. And yes, it is awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome, and you should honestly that's something you should revisit, because I think sober Kyle, that would go from like honorable mention.
And all the way up to, you're probably right. And for one, I love chicken Alfredo pizza, so whenever I see that on the menu,
even pepperoni pizza,
Yeah.
like their standard pie, and if I remember right, it comes in a square instead of a circle.
Yeah.
And which that's if you guys don't make a lot of pizzas, square black pans are usually the best to make that crispy crust. So if you don't know that, shout out.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it is. And yes, you got pizza at 4:00 in the morning. I got pizza at 6:00 in the morning when Justin got off work, came to my house. We were still drinking. Was it a good idea? Probably not. Well, it wasn't a good idea to stay up drinking to 6:00 in the morning. Was it a great idea to have pizza then?
Absolutely.
Probably. So we actually got to sleep and were extremely hungover in the morning.
Yeah. No, my number 2 is Little Caesars. I love it.
You put it up there that high.
I love it. I fucking love Little Caesars pizza. And now that it used to be, not only the pizza is so good, but the crazy bread. Well, now they got this cheese bread.
Yeah.
And that shit trumps all the pizza. I mean, that shit's better than the pizza.
Have you got the half pizza, half breadstick one? Dude, that's what we've been getting. And you can, like, pies here, half pizza, the other half is breadsticks. They have, you can get cheese, jalapenos, or bacon on it.
Yeah.
All 3.
No.
And it's not as good as like the Italian cheese bread, which to me is the best thing.
It's the best thing on it. It's the best thing there, and I mean that's why I think I have it so high on my list. But the other reason is, dude, you can get like 6, 7, 8 pizzas, and at the end of the day, they're like, that'll be $30. I'm like, what the fuck? A lot of these other places, you're spending $30 for a pizza.
Yeah.
So for me, it's simple.
Yep.
You can walk into that place at any time during the day, and your pizza's already made for you, and it's already
ready. They got
ready.
the pizza portal on the app, which is awesome.
And look, if you don't know me, I love simple. Anything that's fucking simple, I love, and that's why it's so high on my list. people knock it though, and I don't get it. I'm like, is this pizza phenomenal? No, it's not. But it's fucking simple. It's cheap. You can, hey, as far as bang for your buck, it's absolutely not bad. As far as bang for your buck, it's the best there is. That's why it's number 2 on my list.
Well, since I jumped ahead of you, what is your number 1?
You already said it.
Pizza.
Well, you already
2K
said
Crew.
the place.
What's that?
Jack's.
Oh, you like Jack's? That
I
much?
love Jack's. I like the thin style pizza, but it's got. I love their chicken bacon ranch.
I'm a big chicken bacon ranch guy.
Jack's chicken bacon ranch pizza, my number 1. I love it. Every time I go there. Well, for one, I love pizza and beer, so you get good draft beer at Jack's every time. Mm-hmm. But the thin personal pizza, chicken bacon ranch, just let me mow down on that. Have it.
Love it.
No, number 1, easy.
Now, see, my number 1 is creme de la creme. Don't even know if they're open anymore. This pizza was so good that when I lived on Gull Lake, going to Western, lived there for about a year. We went there probably 4 times just to get the pizza in Chicago. And so it was in a little strip mall, and I used to know the exit number, and it wasn't your traditional like deep dish Chicago style. We stumbled into this place by mistake, or stumbled off the exit by mistake because one of us had to go to the bathroom, and ended up we were hungry. It was right next door, so I was like, fuck it, let's go. Mm-hmm. And we got mad the first time because we had to wait a half an hour for sub sandwiches. These weren't the sub sandwiches like Subway or any other. I mean, these were fucking sub sandwiches. Like the meat is this thick. You get a foot long, and it takes you 3 meals to eat the goddamn thing. So we ended up staying like a couple exits down, checking our hotel. The next day for lunch, we go back down there. Like, well, shit, let's order a pizza, knowing that it's going to be a long wait. And my God, this is like the most angelic food on the planet. I mean, it was thicker than like our normal style pizza, but it wasn't like a casserole, what most people call Chicago style. It was kind of in between. Mm-hmm. Lots of cheese, not a lot of sauce, lots of toppings, and the crust was absolutely to die for. The name of the restaurant was Mama Rigetti's. Mm-hmm. I haven't been back to Chicago in 2 decades. Don't even know if they're open. Mm-hmm. But if they are, I will figure out which exit it is. And I have been east to west, north to south. Any new city I was in, I had to get the locals, their best burger and their best pizza. Not a single place topped that pizza. Hands down. Like I said, it'd be awesome if you could be like, oh my God, yes. So maybe we need to take a trip to Chicago. Yeah. We'll obviously Google, see if Mama Rigetti's is still open. Because if it is, well worth the trip. Like I said, as broke ass college students, we went there. We'd go there, get pizza, and we're talking like $80, $90 worth of pizza. Mm-hmm. Bring it back to the house, so we'd have it in the refrigerator. Oh, yes. Yeah, it was a magical experience. We found, like I said, we found it by mistake. Mm-hmm. And probably one of the best mistakes. Sure. I mean, if Bo Yordi is watching this, he will back me up 125%. He might have actually forgotten about Mama Rigetti's, but that's how impactful this pizza is and was. Mm-hmm. So Mama Rigetti's, big shout out. Hope you're still open. Yeah. And if you are, we're going to come visit you. And hopefully, I'll be so let down if they're still open and it comes out and it's like this fucking flap. Like, oh, this is not a slice. This is not a slice. We're not in New York. We're in Chicago. Yeah. But we're not downtown Chicago to where it's, like Geno's with the big. Yeah. where you literally eat one slice and you're full.
Yeah, I'm not. See, that's the pizza that I can't get down with. That's like eating a.
It's a casserole.
Yeah, it's too much.
Or like a lasagna type.
Yeah. Is it good? Yeah, it's good, but it's not. To me, that's not pizza. That's not pizza.
Like I said, this is a kind of like the thickness of like the Little Caesars Detroit style, but it's where the Detroit style is a lot of crust. Mm-hmm. This doesn't have nearly as much crust. It doesn't have the stripes for the sauce. It's more spread around like normal, but it's got the same crust, like the same crispy crust around the pan, but it's circle instead of square. And throw some capicola on that, a little bit of spicy ham. Yes, yes. I got a little bit of a chub going on.
Chell and I went to Chicago last year, and obviously there's so many different choices to choose from, and we're not from Chicago, so we don't know a whole lot about it. So we ended up, walking into this place called Illuminati's, and it was good. It was very good pizza, and people raved about it, especially people that are from Chicago or go into Chicago quite often. They raved about it. Like a lot of people said it was, it was the best, and it was very good. But I'm still that. I'm that simple pizza guy. Right. I like the simple pizza. That's that to me. Like I love pizza. Obviously, I watch Dave Portnoy and all of his pizzas. Mm-hmm. I've never been on the East Coast. And he's a big time New Haven style pizza. Yeah. Someday I have to go out there and try it because that's my style. That type of pizza, that thin, kind of overcooked pizza. That's
big ass slices.
Yes, that's what I want. That's the kind of pizza that's my favorite kind. I mean, so
you like the skin flap?
Yeah. Well, it's got to have a good base. A
little more girth to it.
Yeah. But I do. I like that thin style with good solid undercarriage on it for sure.
I bounce around. Mm-hmm. I mean, I definitely like the pan style with the crispy crust. I love that. That's my absolute favorite. Mm-hmm. But have I walked into and got pizza from anywhere and be like, "Nah, this is trash"?
No.
I
don't think I've ever. To be honest with you, I don't think I've ever had a bite of a slice of pizza that I didn't like.
And if it was trash, it was my fault, not theirs, because either A, frozen pizza overcooked it, or I ordered something wrong, trying to be fancy or trying to church it up a little bit, and it's like, man, it really wasn't bad. It was just kind of disappointing.
Yeah,
where I should have stuck to the game plan and be like, all right, this is what I want. This is what I want. Oh, you know what? Another honorable mention, Wood and Minnow.
Yeah,
Wood and Minnow makes a good pie.
Pizza too. That's good pizza. Yeah,
and even Sailors in Dwajak.
Yeah,
Sailors has a good pie.
Sailors was awesome. Their chicken bacon or their chicken and ranch. They didn't have the bacon. They just had the chicken and ranch. $5 pizza. Yep. Like, oh my god.
Yep. Well, that's why
Christian and I couldn't tell you how many chicken and ranch pizzas we've ate over the years.
If they put bacon on it, they had to charge more than $5.
So no, great pizza. That fucking phenomenal pizza. But getting back to the whole thing, like, yeah, I have kind of like two things with pizza. I don't think I've ever found a pizza that I would not eat, and I don't think I've ever found a pizza where I only had one slice.
Yeah,
I can't. Even if it's like a deep dish that I can't, probably can't eat a second piece, I'm still gonna attempt because to me, eating one piece of pizza is just a waste of your time.
Yeah, it's a pussy move.
Yeah, bitch move, and you just don't do it.
Well, 2K Crew, I think we'll wrap it up on that. Thank you, guys and gals, for watching live.
We don't be careful. We might turn into a food podcast.
I mean, fucking bring it on. I mean, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah.
But, 2K Crew, we want to thank each and every one of you that watch live. We want to thank each and every one of you that download the podcast. Hit that bell. Hit that subscribe button on the podcast. Hit the follow. Comment on the video or comment on the podcast. Rate us. Give us a 5-star rating so we can start moving up this podcast rank. Hopefully the Turbo and 2K show will be in the top 50 of this sports podcast. which would be really cool because you and I, last I checked, were not professional athletes. We had aspirations to be professional athletes. Close. Yeah, so close. So close. If it wasn't being for 5'10" and 300 pounds in high school, I might have had a future. But future's led us here, 2Ks, and we're shaping this future now that we have it in hand. So yeah, 2K crew, hit that 5-star on the Apple Podcast. And as always, Jim Rome and Mr. Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
I honestly think we need to switch it. Or include both of them.
Switch maybe to the fucking Kelsey brothers because they're taking over.
Yeah.
See if it keeps up. Now that the Super Bowl is beyond, is past us. But man, during that time, like, what better year than to start a podcast together than the two of you both squaring off in the Super Bowl against each other.
Not taken away from any of the folks we just mentioned. They work hard, they do what they do, and they do a very good job. And yeah, as far as YouTube views go, Pat kills the other two combined. Yeah. Maybe on the podcast download side is a little bit different.
To have a unlimited pocketbook would be very, very helpful too for the two of us.
Yeah. So if 2Ks and I do win the Powerball or Mega Millions, you become. Yeah. But until then.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we don't play. We're not professional football players.
No.
And
not yet anyway.
Yeah. You sell insurance and I install internet. So.
Yeah, I think our NFL days are since past.
Yeah, we don't have that going.
Yeah.
But
I'm in my 40s and you're well on your way.
I'm in my 30s. I'm getting close.
So 2K crew, we'll get you out of here on this. Help us out as much as you can because, like we said, it's hard to compete with those boys. But you know what? With the help of the 2K crew, 2Ks, we can do it.
We can fucking do it.
We can fucking do it. You goddamn right. So 2K crew and Jim Rome, Pat McAfee, and the Kelsey brothers, we're coming for you.